Okay, this is comma video with the rules number 4. And it's a pretty simple one. I just think it's one we often forget, but the rules are pretty cut and dried. So today we're talking about introductory words and introductory phrases that almost always necessitate a comma. So if you have done IEW in the past, then this should be fairly simple, a lot of them. If you haven't, you'll catch up. I mean, this isn't brain surgery, okay? So sentences that begin with an ly adverb will always have a comma. So your ly openers will use a comma. Sentences that begin with an ing opener will utilize a comma. Sentences that begin with prepositional phrases need a comma after the prepositional phrase. And then anytime you have a direct address where you're speaking to someone or an introductory expression. There is one more introductory phrase that we will actually talk about all on its own next week, the subordinating conjunction. But for now, these are the 5 that we are going to tackle all in one day because I really do think they're simple. We just may not know or we forget. So I have examples of all of them. So an ly opener is simply a sentence that begins with an adverb that ends in ly as the very first word. So that looks like this. Come over here. Sadly, the puppy walked away. Okay. Interestingly, it was starving. Okay. Anytime you have this ly word here at the beginning, clumsily, the little girl tripped over a rock. You have to have a comma separating the ly word from the rest of the sentence. Okay, the same is true for the ing opener. Okay, entering the museum, comma, the young girl tripped. All right, swimming under the dock, comma, the duck got stuck. Okay, so it's a phrase that has an ing word. It will need a comma before the rest of the sentence. Okay. Normally, you can check to make sure that these work by just simply removing the part that's separated by the comma, and you should still have a complete sentence. The young girl tripped, the puppy walked away. All right, same for prepositional phrases. Hopefully you know what prepositional phrases are because you're in high school. So prepositional phrase, after the movie, comma, I finished my work. All right, now another one I'm going to put up here just because I think it's important in history or in science is if you have a date with a prepositional phrase. So in 1517, I'm going to put the Reformation began. All right, even though it's short, it is a prepositional phrase. So anytime you start with in and then a date, in 1517, comma, the Reformation began. All right, so any prepositional phrase around the house, comma, you will find hidden treasures. Or you just need it, comma, introduces the sentence. Then you have oh, I flipped these. Sorry. We got the next one is an introductory expression. Out of the blue, comma, she began sobbing. Or if you say, in other words, comma, nevertheless, comma, needless to say, comma, all of those little short kind of meaningless phrases that sometimes we tack on to the beginning of the sentence, they separate the rest of the sentence with a comma, and it still works. If you take it out, you have a complete sentence. She began sobbing. All right. And then finally, the noun of direct address. And this is when you use someone's name to address them and you're talking to them. So this doesn't happen often in academic writing, but it certainly could happen in a letter or in fiction writing. Okay, so here are 2 examples. Margot, please stop lighting matches in the house. Okay, I'm talking to Margot and I separate her name from the rest of the sentence. Okay, and then I have one more where it's not actually an introductory phrase, but it is still I'm speaking to someone. I cannot tell you enough, comma, Clark, comma, that your breath stinks. You like that one? So obviously I'm speaking to Clark, and I separate his name, which is a direct address, on both sides with commas. Okay, so beginning of the sentence, end of the sentence, middle of the sentence, it doesn't matter where the person's name is. It has to be set off with commas if you're speaking directly to them. Okay, so all of these different types of things that I am sure you have written down in your notes by now require commas that set it off from the rest of the sentence. And also, they leave you with a complete sentence if you were to remove it from the sentence. Hopefully that helps you do the worksheet, and hopefully it makes you, now you have 4 rules of the comma that will help you know when to use them. Thanks.